Hi, I'm Amanda and welcome to Self. On this podcast, I share ideas, experiences, and have conversations to explore the self. By developing our own self awareness, we can show up better for ourselves and for those around us, and hopefully all live happier and healthier lives. On today's episode, I'm celebrating International Women's Day, and I'm going to be talking about embracing the woman that I am. I grew up with a particular set of guidelines around what it meant to be a good woman. And these came from my Vietnamese upbringing, in part, that typically views currently, even now, still women as being under men. And then in part, it was from the society around me that reinforced that being attractive was necessary in order to be valuable. And then in part from my church upbringing as a teenager that told me that I needed to be meek and quiet and submissive in order to be a good woman. And so this was challenging for someone like me who is loud, talkative, passionate, driven, and I was always quite an assertive girl who was never afraid to speak my mind. Even in my family, as the elder sibling of two, the elder sibling to my brother and my sister, they are more peacekeepers in the family. And so I was always seen as the, I guess, more like aggressive, talking back, stubborn child because I would speak up for things that I felt weren't fair. And so for me, I felt that my value as a woman started with first being valuable to men. And this meant that it was reflected in my external appearance. So I had to look a certain way, even walk a certain way, be sexy and attractive enough. And this was reinforced even from my dad, to be honest. I remember times when my dad would be like, you can't walk like this, you need to walk like this so that it's sexy. And I'm like, I don't want to walk like that. It's a lot of effort into paying attention to how I walk, and I just want to walk how I walk. And I think when I was 22, I want to say maybe, no, actually, I think I was 24, and he offered to pay for me to have a boob job. And I was like, I don't need this. I don't want this. I've never expressed any interest in wanting to do this, but it was about improving my external appearance so that I could be sexier. And so for me then, there were many times when I would often gauge a man's reaction to something. For example, let's say in the context of relationships, if he would lose to me in a game, and I would sometimes feel the need to almost just lessen myself in order to make him more comfortable. Now, when I was 13, I learned the value of female friendships. And I'm going to shout out to two of my best friends, even today, after nearly 20 years, Beck and Nicole, who are so different to me. And that gave me insight into being any kind of woman that you want to be. Nick, when we were in high school, was someone who loved punk rock, and she skated and played electric guitar, and she was so cool. And we came from these two really different worlds, and so we would make CDs for each other, and we kind of merged our worlds and had an influence over each other. And that really allowed me to embrace all different sides of myself. And Beck has been someone who, throughout the last 20 years, has always really allowed me to flourish as I am, and has always loved me and supported me for exactly as I am. And so, these are two women who even today are my biggest supporters, and whose friendship I value so much. when I started to learn through their friendships and through my girl group in high school how important it was for me to have female friendships, I guess I was afforded the opportunity to explore these different sides of myself and not be afraid of not then being valuable to men anymore, because it started to matter a bit less, I guess. As an adult, and I'm sure that most, if not all, women have experienced this, I've had so many different people tell me that I'm too much of something. I've been called too sensitive, too emotional, too ambitious, and that it's threatening to men who would want to be with me. I've been told that I'm too loud, I'm too assertive. And so there've just been these contradicting things that I've been told, right? Because it's like, oh, you can't be these things because they're too masculine, but then at the same time you can't be like you can't be this person who's too sensitive or too emotional. It's like you need to be assertive, but just assertive enough, and you have to be meek and quiet in some sense. And so through the last 10 years, I've been really navigating what it means to be me, and I guess allowing myself to be okay with my traits, be okay with my personality. There have been many times in my life where I would fall back into allowing another person's opinion to start shaping my traits rather than letting me just embrace myself as the woman that I am and putting aside any kind of standards. And one of the biggest reflections for me over the past year has been a question of what it is that I love and admire about myself. I've learned that I don't need to dim my light to make other people feel more comfortable. And that was something that I often did, particularly to like when I was around certain men, because again, the narrative that was reinforced to me was, in order to be valuable as a woman, you have to first be valuable to men. And I reflected on the idea that light exposes what's hidden in the shadows, and that can be uncomfortable for people. But we don't have to make ourselves smaller for other people. We don't have to dim our light just because someone else is uncomfortable. The right people and the right kind of relationships in your life allow you to shine as bright as you can, as bright as you should, and they embrace you as you are and allow you to embrace yourself as you are. And so because today is International Women's Day, I was reflecting on how a few different things. It's given me this opportunity to reflect on how grateful I am to be a woman who was born in Australia, because this has meant that I've been afforded so many freedoms and opportunities as a woman, and I've been able to challenge even cultural narratives that my mum's generation wasn't able to. You know, growing up Vietnamese and being told that a Vietnamese woman is X, Y, Z, and going, actually, that's not for me. I reject that. I don't want it, and I'm going to be who I am. The fact that I'm even able to do that is such a privilege and such a gift, and something that I'm deeply grateful for. I have also been thinking about the incredible women I am surrounded by, who are honest and fierce, who are courageous, vulnerable, ambitious. Some of them are quiet. Some of them are introverted. Some of them are loud and extroverts. Some who are super driven as entrepreneurs and some who are full-time mums at home who simply just embrace themselves as they are and whatever that looks like. And I love that. I've been the woman who has been envious of another woman's success before. And when I realized this in myself, something I thought about was why I felt that that was threatening to me. What I realized was, when we don't embrace and accept ourselves, like when I wasn't accepting of who I am, both my successes and my failures, it was almost as if seeing another person's success I took personally as if it meant my failure. And realizing that that was speaking to something deeper within me that I was unhappy about. It's not about them. And when I realized that, I stopped taking another woman's success to mean my failure. And I'm so glad that I'm not that person anymore, because one of the greatest lessons I've learned as a woman is that women, the women closest to me, the women who I consider family, who are like sisters to me, are my greatest supporters. They are my greatest allies and who I can depend on through any season of my life, who have a deep understanding of my experience as a woman. And these are the people that I'm incredibly grateful for. And, I think often we can talk about the qualities that we love and admire about other people. Even for me, when I sit here and all these images of my closest female friends are coming to my mind, it's pretty easy to think about all the good that exists in others. And it can often be difficult for us to reflect on ourselves and be able to see all the goodness, all the qualities and traits that we love and admire about ourselves. And so something that I've also been thinking about today is all the stuff that I love and admire about myself. And I think that this is an important exercise for all of us, actually, whether you're a woman or a man. I think it's an important exercise because it does allow you to accept and embrace yourself fully. So today, I am grateful that I am a strong, brave, and courageous woman who isn't afraid to be vulnerable. I'm emotional and sensitive. I am the dumbest smart person I know. And I am intelligent. I'm funny. I'm ambitious and I'm driven. I take risks. I am assertive and I'm not afraid to speak up when I feel that something isn't right. I am loving and caring and kind, and I'm a powerful individual and a powerful woman who is hopefully making some kind of difference in the world. These are the things that I love and admire about myself. And I get to be this woman not only because I accept these things within myself, but it's also because I'm surrounded by women who also accept themselves as they are, who continue to push limits and boundaries, who partake in male-dominated sports, who start businesses and take risks, who nurture and love themselves and those around them, including me. So happy International Women's Day to all my ladies out there, and to those who have played such an important and pivotal role in being a part of shaping me as an individual, who have embraced me and loved me. I just want to say thank you for helping me be more me. and for helping me embrace the woman that I am today. So that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at self_podcast and follow me at Amanda Letran. That's Amanda Letran. And I will have a new episode for you next Thursday. Bye.